Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Dial At Your Heroclix. I got the full posse back with me today.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm your host, Hunter Smith. With me today is Austin and Drew Alderson.
Hey.
Sorry we had a short podcast last week due to our unfortunate series of events.
I wasn't here for it.
And but we're back in force today, ready to discuss this week's Clix news. We're going to start off with the news section, and we're going to start off with the announcement that the SLOSH gravity feed is already out. I kind of reviewed it last week and went over the ones that I thought were kind of noteworthy. I will say overall I like the gravity feed. It has some cool pieces in it, and especially Triplicate Girl is really cool. And her ability, I was just showing Drew how that works. Triplicate Girl, if you guys haven't got a chance to look at her, she spits out two different bystander tokens at the beginning of the game, and they get all the any powers or abilities that she can use, and they get her values. And what I was saying is really cool about that, let's read it here. They replace their combat values with Triplicate Girl's current printed combat values, and they can use any powers that Triplicate Girl can use. The cool thing about this, compared to some of the other powers that we've seen, like Madrox and stuff like that, is that they're getting powers she can use. She doesn't have to possess them. So if you give Triplicate Girl, say, a Anger's Hammer or something like that, they will get all the abilities and powers that said relic or resource gives her, because she can use charge, she can use toughness and regen and everything. So that's pretty dang awesome.
I'm going to interrupt you here.
What's that?
And I'm going to let you finish, but Science Officer is the best gravity feed from SLOSH of all time.
I disagree, but go ahead.
Very timely reference with our intro song this morning, so thumbs up on that. I did mention the Science Officer in the fact that I think he's pretty good for
45
points. If you play police a lot, you'll want to pick up a couple of them. They're not amazing, but they are pretty. What I said was they provide a couple things that a lot of police teams either need or don't have. One being enhancement, you definitely need.
Oh yeah.
And cheap policemen don't always have running shot, and he does have that. But he also gets in-cap and then outwit. And outwit is something that police desperately need quite a bit.
And see, the reason I personally like him is because they're a 45 throw on any team to me. I mean, like, I could throw two of them for 90 points on a team, get -2 defense on my targets and +2 damage. I mean, that's a steal for 90 points, really, for some of the major, like, tentpole teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, if they get hit once, oh no, they're on outwit, but it's a defensive outwit because they can't outwit defense powers. So you're like, oh, your opponent's not going to be able to use Pinside this turn, or your opponent can't use this.
But overall, the gravity feat's great. There's only one or two like stinker pieces in it, honestly.
That reminds me, have you taken a look at the trait that the Cosmic Boy, Saturn Girl, Lightning Light have? Because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I talked about it last week and how it has potential in the meta. If we get the main set other Legion pieces that we don't have spoiled yet, and they are pretty good, that can be very useful, because you're talking about taking 50-point staple meta pieces like a 50-point Switch or a John Constantine or an Enchantress. Or an Enchantress, and now you make a theme team with them, even though you typically can't.
Personally, what I like about it, though, is I feel like that there's going to be a capability to give them... There's probably something involving Legion of Superheroes keyword, and of course, flight, that giving that to somebody is going to be... Open up, like... There's going to be a can of combos, like a web here somewhere, where someone's going to be like, oh, this power only affects Legion of Superheroes, and you're like, oh, that makes it balanced. And then you throw one of these on the team, and you're like, oh, all of a sudden this isn't so fair.
Yeah, well, and it also is particularly with Cosmic Boy, since his traded character also gets the Legion keyword, they'll be able to qualify for his special leadership.
Yeah, that's
leadership
what I mean,
clause too.
like that.
Yeah, stuff like that, and the fact that you're also letting pieces that don't typically fly, like Scarlet Witch and Enchantress and stuff like that. So now they can carry characters, whereas they give them even more utility.
He's a 70-point figure that gives toughness to adjacent characters, which is nice.
Yeah, he's actually one of my favorites.
When he occupies hindering. Never mind.
He's one of my favorites out of the gravity feed. But anyways, good overall gravity feed if you guys are interested in the set. As far as spoilers, we got a couple here. We got Pyro, who's really cool.
Yep.
And I just want to note, You guys that listen all the time know that we do dial design contests. And back in October or November, we did a team-based one. And one of our participants, TJ Crawford, or Clixaholics Crawford, who's also TJ, a local player here and friend of the podcast, he basically made this exact bystander token when he designed his pyro and had it spit out flame constructs. And he guessed 3 of the 4 powers right and almost hit the values perfectly on the nose. I think he was off by like
awesome.
1. So that's really cool. This pyro is from, of course, Days of Future Past. 90 points, Brotherhood, team ability, traded flame constructs when he has no action tokens and he doesn't already have a flame construct out. You give him a free action to place 1 in an unoccupied adjacent square and it becomes a bystander as described on this card. The flame construct has charge, poison, no defense, and 2 exploit. So a charge, exploit, or a poison. Pretty freaking sick.
Oh, yeah.
And then he also has sidestep Clix, so you could sidestep over, spit out the token, and then activate poison all before all that, all free actions before start of turn.
Yep.
So you'll get that poison kick in too. And then the token can exploit.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I like him for 90 points. I feel like his naked defense, though, could be problematic. His third click, he has an 18 defense, though, which is nice.
See, I don't have a problem with him not having defensive powers, personally, because he doesn't. I mean, There's a lot of characters that they throw stuff on that they really don't deserve, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
Like
Pyro kind of makes sense. I mean, that he wouldn't have any real, defense powers.
Yeah, I mean, even toughness. I guess you could give him toughness, but really, compared to most of the other heroes and villains, he's not that tough. He goes down really quick. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with him not having defense powers. He has a lot of attack. He's kind of a support / secondary attacker, which is what you need.
Yeah.
He's got a running shot and energy explosion with an 11 attack, and he's got 6 range, 2 bolts on that. And then he has a 3 damage enhancement. So he's hitting pretty hard, plus providing enhancement.
Brotherhood on Magneto, something.
Yeah. And then he actually has energy explosion on every single click. And he has good attack values for the first few. And then end dial he gets perp instead of enhancement. So really cool. Another cool addition to the X-Men Days of Future Past.
That gravity feed's looking that countertop's looking really good, actually.
Yep. Another kind of news. Justin Zirin and Alexis Mueller from WizKids did an AMA on Reddit this past week, and I thought we could mention some of the particular kind of important questions or interesting questions that were mentioned and the WizKids workers' answers, just real quick.
Like the Marvel Vehicles question?
Yes. First off, will there be Marvel vehicles? They said they've discussed it multiple times, but they don't know exactly. They have no official plans on when they would be coming out, but it's always definitely something that could be a possibility.
And he made a joke about a helicarrier.
Yeah, and he said that particularly that a helicarrier.
And then I said I wanted to play a helicarrier on the helicarrier, and of course, jokes floated from that.
A couple people were interested if they'd ever do Heroclix for the Arrow TV show characters, which again, it seems like there's a lot of interest in that show and in those characters being clixed. And that question kind of brought up something that the WizKids guys mentioned multiple times in this thread is how do they go about deciding who's going to be in what set, what sets they're going to make. And kind of the bottom line answer that they gave was it's not always them going to a certain IP and it's not always a certain IP coming to them. It's just kind of it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Either they get enough requests from consumers saying we would like this clixed, or a company comes to them like Yu-Gi-Oh! And says, hey, we have this awesome idea. We think, these would work well in Clix form and we could bring players to your game. Stuff like that. It's kind of a little bit of both. And when people asked what would you suggest we do if we would like certain things clixed, they said request it from WizKids and request it from the company that is involved in whatever IP you're talking about.
And then he also mentioned on character choices, there's really 2 ways they go about it. either the licensee gives them full rights to just do whatever, and they make the full list, and then they send it off to them. They're like, this is what we're looking at doing, and then they approve or decline it or make some changes. Or it's in reverse, where the licensee sends them a list of characters and says, make these guys into things. Which we'd heard before that's how they do the movie characters. When like Iron Man 3 came out, the Iron Man 3 creative staff or whatever wrote them out a list of characters and how their powers should be set up, kind of, or what their character should be like, and then submitted it to them. And then they made characters based on those descriptions.
And that's how we got Aldrich Killian.
Yeah, and that as opposed to them having full creative control of picking who does and who doesn't go in the set.
One thing I found interesting that they said, someone asked them about Heroclix Online and if they're happy with how it works, and then asked them, are they happy with everything with Heroclix, the Heroclix game, as far as gameplay and everything. And the employee said that what a lot of people don't realize is that everything is in place 14 to 18 months ahead of time. So even when they go to put in changes to either to the gameplay or the metagame or something like that, it takes time for that to get worked into, what's currently going on.
Yeah, so they have the Wizards approach. It could be up to a year before we see a silver bullet to something or something like that.
And that's kind of obvious, as far as past history, like we've said on the podcast, and actually like Edward has talked about multiple times on his podcast, where you see something good come out, and then about a year later, you see answers to it.
Yeah.
And, that's just kind of further answers that theory that we all are, kind of already had. There's also some major interest of WizKids in doing Dungeons & Dragons Heroclix, and they're already planning on doing minis of some type, and they're pretty interested in doing Heroclix. Kind of wanted everybody's opinions on that.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, WizKids already does the Pathfinder miniatures.
So now you can do both.
They got Pathfinder battles out there, so I think...
That's the engine the D&D minis are going to run on.
Yeah, probably. I mean...
You know what the best part is, though? Did you see what they're doing with the Attack Wing? They're releasing a Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing where you fight with flying creatures like dragons and stuff like that. It's going to be freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see if there's any other particular...
A couple people asked about con-exclusive stuff. He said that they don't confirm or deny rumors like that they will address them in the coming weeks, because they do have an announcement coming forward about the lanterns and all that stuff.
And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, too, in a different section. One thing I found interesting is that, how did you guys end up talking Iron Maiden into doing Clix of the band's albums? And he said, the owner of NECA, which owns WizKids, knows the guys from the band and their management from when he used to manage the band a long time ago. It was just a cool idea that came up, and we all thought it would be fun to do. So I thought that was kind of interesting, too.
There was another, I can't remember what set it was, where the owner of NECA once again knew somebody really famous and got a set out of it.
Was it the Lone Ranger?
No.
Drew's trying to come up with some excuse for WizKids for making
I'm just saying, man, Lone Ranger, what the...
Let's see. Anything in particular? I don't think so.
There's a lot of little stuff. Like, if you guys get some time, you should hop over here and read through it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Warriors talk. There's a lot of Attack Wing stuff. A lot of general just... It was honestly a really good AMA. It's easy, of course, like we're a little more critical of WizKids at times, but it's nice to really sit down and talk to some of the WizKids employees, get some questions answered.
Well, Zirin in particular, from what we've seen other people say that have had direct interactions with him, and what I've seen people share emails and stuff that they've gotten from him, and what I've seen from him on the Realms, seems to be a very nice... Like, I seem to like him quite a bit. He seems like he really cares about it, Heroclix. And I seem to remember even an email and a guy posting a story about, like, somebody emailing him, asking him silly questions about Heroclix, and him, like, answering while at dinner, and, like...
I remember that.
That was a few months back. So it's like... It's obvious the guy actually cares about the game quite a bit and about, our opinions on stuff. So that was really cool to see.
And then I did ask if any of WizKids guys would be interested in coming on the podcast for an interview. They said they're a little strapped on time, and it kind of sucks that because they're limited on time, when they do one podcast, they want to do a bunch, because a lot of people badger them to be on their podcast once they're on one. But he said if anyone in WizKids is interested, they'll ship me a PM. So we'll see what happens.
They'll shit you a PM.
Ship.
Another spoiler we got this
God.
week from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Injection Fairy Lily.
Which might be the weirdest name for a HeroClix ever, but continue.
This piece is really interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Really?
It's got great qualities and it's got horrible qualities, so we'll talk about it.
It's got great qualities.
61 points for the regular figure. She has a traded Super Serum. Give her a free action, modify her values by +2 until your next turn. When you do, at the beginning of your next turn, deal her 2 unavoidable damage.
That means she has 2 defense to your opponent's turn.
Yeah, but still, she's taking 2.
Yeah.
Damn. She also has Forced Injection Power. Give her a power action and deal 1 pin to an adjacent opposing character. That character mods its values by +1 until your next turn. As long as you use that when they already have tokens, you don't have to really worry about that part. The whole injecting yourself to be super beefy, but then taking 2 at the, that's going to be situational, but it's cool to have that option.
Yeah, but looking at her dial, she's a flyer 5 range charge that puts her to 12-5 for 61 points. And if you take 2, if they don't kill you the next turn, you're once again a 12-5.
Yeah.
And if you take 2 again, now you're an 11-5. And you could charge, and with the +2 values, now you're in combat reflexes range. So you're going to be +4 defense technically. You could take the +1 to your enemy and not really be that big of a deal. So she's really situational. But I think for her points, her damage output potential, if your opponent doesn't handle her right, it's just stupid. Especially I'm going to push her onto her second click. She's a 12-5 exploit.
Yeah, she definitely has potential, and it's a really cool figure. I also really liked her trap ability.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I think there'll be some cool combos with her trap ability. It's Call of the Haunted. It costs 4 points. When the set character would be KO'd, instead roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. On a 1 to 4, the character is KO'd normally. On a 5, return it to your starting area on its last non-KO click. And on a 6, return it to any starting area on its last non-KO click, and then heal it of 1. So for 4 points, having a 33% chance to get it back and keep it alive is pretty dang cool. Especially,
there's a few figures that last KO click is ridiculous.
Yeah. So, or if you combo that with a character that never freaking dies, like a ASM Dracula or Solomon Grundy or something like that.
Manhunter Grandmaster with his free regions.
For only 4 points, that's pretty freaking nice.
And then Shrink's not bad too. You give the set character a free action. The set character can use Perplex, but only to modify a character's attack value -2. 4 points for a -2 attack, when potentially that's an alpha strike you're negating. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
What else we got? So, yeah, there was rumor that there would be a Lord of the Rings Return of the King Gravity Feed Super Booster. But supposedly, Zirin got on and confirmed that was actually an accident and that they had originally planned on doing so, but then they decided later that they did not want to do Super Booster. So from what I understand, there will not be
it was a misprint of the retailer assets.
And what's sad is that most people are saying that this wouldn't be a good idea, but I'm with Austin when I say
people in the realms were all butthurt about it. I am severely.
I'm just saying,
I was really excited.
This is one of the most depressing pieces of Clix news I've heard.
Most people I've seen in our community and stuff have been like,
yeah, but they're not really Lord of the Rings Clix fans. Or
what's cooler than a Balrog, or
what's cooler than a pirate ship?
Or a pirate ship. Or
you get the Corsairs, you get the giant elephant.
I was going to say, every time a set comes out, I'm like, why didn't they do Balrog? Why didn't they do Smaug? Why didn't they do, for Return of the King, why don't they do the giant elephants? There's always tons of Colossals or the Ints or something like that.
You could have done Ints, Int Generic, Shelob. You could have done Balrogs, the Witch King on a Fell Beast, a Fell Beast Rider. You could have done the pirate.
You could have done a Tower of Sauron.
Yes, that's what I wanted. The Tower of Sauron Colossal, like the Batcave that sits in your starting area and just starts crap all the way across the map until everyone's dead.
That does sound pretty fun.
And then a Fellowship team base for the hell of it, because that would look sexy on a freaking shelf somewhere.
Let's see, what else we got here? We have Black Panther and Danger and Lei Kung came out this week.
Finally.
If you guys haven't seen them yet.
Finally.
Danger's awesome.
Black Panther, you guys can check them out and see what you think about them, or you may have already received them from your venues like we have. Black Panther's 100 points wild card, good keywords. A really cool trait. Once during your turn, another friendly within 4 squares sharing a keyword, and like I said, he has good ones. Avengers, Illuminati, Martial Artist, Ruler, Scientist, Warrior. Within 4 squares and shares a keyword can use Willpower. That's pretty freaking sex.
Yes.
It's not even adjacent. It's within 4 squares. Other than that, he has a lot of either Blades or Precision Strike full dial. A mix of Stealth and Charge.
He has Special Leadership, too.
And a Special Leadership for his first 3 clicks. Empowered Leadership, Outwit. When he hits a 6 on Leadership, in addition to normal effects, he removes 1 from himself.
Which is sick.
Oh, God, Hunter, you know what I just realized? I think they're putting enough of the Illuminati on this team base to build an Illuminati team base.
Maybe. I mean,
Namor can't be attached to the Avengers one though.
Yeah.
But you still have Black Panther. You still have Professor X. Oh man, please tell me we're going to talk about the Professor X.
Did that Cap have Illuminati keyword?
I hope not.
I hope not too. Iron Man. You're freaking.
Yeah, I know Iron Man, but
actually, I think you might have.
You better not. I'll quit this game. That Cap has Illuminati. I will burn down WizKids HD.
Danger is pretty cool too. 100. She's expensive though. 150 points.
She's a Sentinel piece.
Robot piece. She's a robot main. She's mainly going to be on your robot team. She has a traded Island Defense Systems. When she has 1 action token, she can draw lines of fire and count squares for range from any square occupied by a friendly robot or vehicle.
So she can capture through people.
She can use a capture ability, but may not have more than 1 captive. So you could keep her in your starting zone and then do that through basically drones that you
dodged a bullet. Captain America does not have these invaders.
I just remember someone saying they thought they...
Oh no, there was the one on the dial design that did.
Oh, okay.
Lei Kung is my favorite. Lei Kung has...
Oh my gosh.
He's expensive, 125 points. But first of all, he has a new awesome keyword, Kunlun. Hopefully we see lots more Kun... We need an Iron...
Yeah.
Why didn't that Iron Fist in F5?
Iron Fist subset in a set coming up. That's what I want. A sub-theme of Kunlun. I want Iron Fist.
Maybe next one after
the rest of the Immortal
Guardians.
Weapons.
Maybe the next set after Guardians.
Yeah.
The rest of the Immortal Weapons would be awesome.
This guy has a really cool trait that kind of feels like Black Panther's, where he's helping the rest of his team. During the beginning of your turn, give Lei Kung the Thunderer a free action. Choose a friendly character within 3 squares with the martial artist keyword and less points. Chosen character can mod either attack or defense +1 for your next turn.
Find me a martial arts character that isn't good with. There isn't one. They're all amazing with that because the choice of attack or defense is
any
absurd.
martial artist has more than 125 points.
But then you get into his sick movement ability, Hunter.
So he has Charge, Flurry, Plasticity, and he has Quake. When he does hit, characters are also given an action token. So and he has Exploit. So you have options here. You can either charge Exploit. I can charge, hit you for 3, then Quake with my second part of my Flurry and give you action token and hit multiple people.
You can't Quake with the second swing on Flurry.
Why can't you? Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You can't use an action for Flurry's second swing.
Yes, you can. We had this argument a bajillion times, Austin.
And no, you corrected me on this once before. You
yeah, because you were wrong.
No, it says you're given a close combat action to make 2 close combat attacks.
Thought you could Flurry Kuwait. Let's see. Flurry gives character close combat action after the close combat attack results. Maybe make a second. Oh, maybe you couldn't. I don't know what I'm thinking. Let me see.
I was about to say, buddy.
Close combat action.
Well, I know this is one of the classic rules we've discussed many times.
Oh yeah, we used to think you could do
that
action. Okay, yeah, my bad.
That would be ridiculous.
I was getting mixed up in my head. So you can either charge in Exploit for 3, charge in Quake if you're multiple people to give them all up tokens and do 2 to each, or you can charge Flurry.
That's ridiculous.
And then
he's plasticity tying him up after that.
And then later in his dial, he gets Sidestep and Precision Strike, and on his last 2 clicks, he has the Charge Flurry Quake, or the Charge and Flurry and Precision Strike. So Flurry Precision Strike's always fun.
Flurry, Precision Strike.
And then CCE on top of that.
Sidestep and CCE is a really good combo.
I love that combo.
So really cool figure. He's a little expensive, but he'll be fun to play.
No, he's not expensive. He's great. I love him.
Oh,
He's got
and
Indom.
Indom too. Yeah,
Indom.
I think he's worth his points. I mean,
Mr. Majestic is pretty cool. He is a uncommon.
He's the figure Wildcats needed.
220 points. Flyer with transporter symbol. Traded ignores shape change. When he uses move and attack, he takes -1 instead of -2. He has improved targeting, hindering, 7 range, 2 bolts. So if you're using him as hypersonic, since he has the move and attack, he's only taking the -1 instead of -2, and whenever he shoots, he's ignoring hindering, so that's nice. You could keep him kind of as a hit and run type piece. Or you can just go straight running shot energy explosion, since he has 11 attack, 5 damage, 7 range, 2 bolts. But he is 220 points, so that's pretty hefty price tag.
But he's a great tent pole for those Wildcats teams because they've been missing a really beefy centerpiece. And he also has a really good leadership, or he has leadership at a high point value.
You don't think Maul is nice and beefy?
Well, Maul's nice and beefy, but he's not like...
You don't like Warblade?
I love Warblade, but neither of them are Mr. Majestic.
He gets some, kind of in the middle, he gets super strength and some charge. And then towards the end, he gets 2 clicks of Psychic Blast. I think he's a little too expensive.
I think he's a little too expensive.
I think he would have been better off at 200.
He's okay on the fact that he ignores stealth shape change.
If they would have put him at an even 200.
And a basically traded hypersonic with -1 attack.
But they had to go and fucking put 20 points in there and just...
He's a little pricey, but he's pretty beefy.
And he's got good keywords, too.
I mean, he's good. He's worth his... I think he's worth his points.
Professor X's card.
Oh my god.
Card is spoiled.
So, Hunter, why is it that every fucking Professor X has to be broken?
Because he's Professor X, dude.
I like how his ignoring hindering is called Headmaster.
Alright, so 150 points. Proof targeting ignores hindering. Really awesome trait. When he doesn't have 2 action tokens, he can use shape change. Really awesome move ability. Actually, this is probably the most
Broken.
awesome thing about him.
Broken.
Professor X can use mind control and is not dealt unavoidable from it.
Okay.
Opposing characters within range.
What?
Which we don't know what
We don't know what the range is yet.
We don't have a dial. But opposing characters within range, not line of fire either, must be given double power actions instead of power actions. So he has the Mach effect, or the Grey Gargoyle
Hella.
and Hella, effects, kind of, where they're slowing the opponent's teams down, making them take extra actions. And
except this is way dumber.
Like I said, the fact that they don't even have to be line of fire, that he can hide behind people and still
hi,
make that
Realm
happen.
of Death. I'm just going to park Professor X in his wheelchair in the middle.
So, and then he has some Psychic Blast and some Incap, and then he has a
ridiculous Mastermind, too.
Mastermind, when he does, he can divide the damage dealt between 2 adjacent friendly characters if they share a keyword.
Oh, hi, X-Men, Avengers, Illuminati. That only covers 99%.
So if they each if you take 2 and they each have toughness next to you,
Yep.
It's stupid.
Oh, that's not the only reason he's freaking stupid.
I know. What about that damage ability?
This is probably the coolest leadership power I've ever seen. Probably the best. Empower, enhancement, leadership.
Oh my god.
When he uses leadership and succeeds, not even hits a 6, just a 5 or 6.
Succeeds.
He can remove up to 1 action token from each adjacent X-Men. That's sick.
Hunter, you know what's scary about this? If you look at this card closely, all of these are the first things on the list of each of the... He has a damage power in its first...
What's that, Hunter? His team base abilities, he can be attached to either team base.
And when he does and gets knocked off, he can use mind control as a free action.
Yeah, when you solo adventure him, he gets mind control for free action.
And remember, he doesn't take damage from mind control.
Really, really cool.
I'm really hoping we get a Black Bolt Illuminati switch clicks in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Again, he's 150. He's 150 points, but as long as his values are somewhat decent with these powers, he's going to be really cool, really fun, and probably pretty good.
I'm guessing he's at least got 6 range.
And the last thing I want to talk about isn't actually official news.
Oh boy!
And we're not going to talk about it very long.
Oh boy!
Because we will get into it and spiral for hours.
Oh,
over
boy.
Nothing, probably.
We literally argued on the computer.
So, someone on Realms is claiming that on their Heroclix Facebook group, a WizKids employee told them through email that a couple different things. Number 1 being that Black Lantern and a Monitor is a con exclusive. Number 2 being that the Spidey team base is a con exclusive. I think we all saw that coming.
It's got the WK number on it.
Number 3, the different colored lantern resources will be con exclusives. That's the biggest blow to the balls to me.
Yeah.
The next DC set will be flash based. We kind of assumed and hoped for that to be the case as well.
Now,
so you kind of see the Black Lantern anti-monitor thing coming too, but maybe
not
first of
really.
I don't know what the hint they gave though. I don't see Black Lantern anti-monitor fit in that. And the anti-monitor was shown at the retailer thing.
Okay, here's the thing about the anti-monitor at the retail. If you listen closely, the guy does not even specify that it will be a prize.
But
he doesn't He doesn't even specify that. It will be a prize.
People were trying to tell me that they said that they were going to be the gang things. They never said that. He was just on the slide. They just said Black Lantern.
It's the order of display where usually it's like.
What I'm thinking,
when they show the final grand prize, they always show the gang prize. Or
if you line it up, it's going to be around con season.
But con season starts here in like 2 months.
I know.
April
yeah, but they don't
Origins,
always have everything at
they have
Origins.
They had Shoe Mud Origins.
Right, but they didn't have Trends in. That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't always have everything at the first cons. By Gen Con, they have everything out. They also don't have all the small cons. They usually have 2 or 3 of the 6 or 7.
So to me, this one seems slightly feasible.
They're all very feasible.
I could see WizKids doing any of this stuff. My problem with this rumor is that it's the sources.
Exactly. So everybody needs to chill out and quit getting your fucking panties in an uproar over something that at this point is not confirmed and is total conjecture.
And you know what's funny? And I'm not meaning to call anyone out, but everyone's taking it as kind of fact because I think everyone there is part of that Facebook group. So either this is
that discussion spiraled bad.
So either this is a gigantic Facebook group hoax, troll, whatever, or it's bullshit. But we'll see.
First of all, I can already guarantee you Spidey Teammate is going to be a con exclusive.
Yeah,
we all know that.
And that there's going to be a Flash set soon. Anyways, everybody, I mean, when we did our predictions, that's what we said a bajillion times. Everybody else kind of assumes it too. It's been a long time since we got anything Flash. So, those 2 things, I can definitely see. Black Lantern and a monitor, I have a $5 bet with Phil that it will indeed be a con exclusive. He says it won't be, I say it will be.
What I was going to say, though, earlier is the main reason I don't see it doing that is because at Alliance Open House, they don't show con exclusive stuff. They show stuff to get retailers interested in the game.
Yeah, but they do like to back out of things.
They do like to put their... Never mind. We'll keep it a little PG.
Yeah, okay.
They don't give a crap about anybody except themselves.
Yeah, I'm just saying...
For most of the time.
It's easier to go with the record, though, where they've never shown con exclusives at Alliance. They've always shown event stuff.
Right.
But...
I will say, if the lanterns... different color lanterns are con exclusives, which I can definitely see happening. Hell, we got a bunch of utility belt items at Gen Con, and they actually play differently. It's not one of those things where like I'm going to quit the game if that happens, but that really is going to piss me off.
Expect another Gen Con level rant out of us.
That is really going to piss me off and really make me kind of take a pause back and think about continuing to support WizKids. Like, repeatedly doing things like this to fuck over your players. Like,
I mean, and the thing is, we have access to the con. It's right up the road from us. So even if we're saying this, and we're the ones who will probably be getting them, it's still ridiculous to do this. Like, resources and anything like that has even the slightest potential to go, like, super meta, should never be a con thing. Con things should be fun pieces like Obnoxio or stuff like that. Giving out the utility belt items set a terrible precedence that I hope WizKids nips in the bud. They did say in that AMA... they did say in the AMA that they have an announcement coming for it. So we'll see when that
You know what the announcement's going to be, right?
That they don't have colored lanterns at all.
I think the worst thing is that they haven't denied it yet. But
I would rather there not be colored lanterns than have them be con exclusives.
I feel like if at least a couple of these weren't true, they would have just flat out already said, "Hey, it's not true."
Seriously,
you know what I mean? Like, at least
but I think the Spidey team-based con exclusive is a given. And so
but you can just say, like, announce it. I mean, you had this picture up there for 8 fucking years. Just announce it.
We will be knowing. There was that hint on the push to region from the WizKids employee where it's like, bad things come in 3s, good things come in 7s about one of the con exclusives. But we don't
Watch it be lanterns.
But there's not 7 lanterns, there's 9.
Yeah, but what if the other 2 are included in the...
Anyways, let's get off of this stupid conjecture.
Yeah,
bullshit. that's it for news. What we played Wednesday, we had AVX Month 2 for the Danger and the Black Panther and the Lei Kung that we talked about. At Game Preserve, it was 500 points Silver Age, and the only resource you could play is the Phoenix Force with the first three shards, and also your team had to all have the keyword of whatever your faction is. We had some bad weather up here Monday, Tuesday, and every day for the last feels like an eternity. So Drew didn't actually make it, but Austin and I played, and Austin belongs to X-Men. I belong to Avengers. Austin, you want to talk about your team?
So I went with the TK heavy team. I wasn't aware we were going to be locked into the AVX Month 2 maps, which kind of would have probably changed what I played a lot. Basically, the AVX Month 2 maps are Latvia and Drowned Wakanda.
Latveria,
sorry. I've been listening to Latvia potato jokes for the last week between me and Aaron, so it got me a little mixed up. Latveria is cool. It's a lot of blocking terrain. It's a really cool setup. This is one of my favorite maps to come out recently. I hated it for the team I built. And Wakanda's kind of the same way. Wakanda was not a friendly map for my team. My team had the full 200 point Magneto from the AVX starter kit, Marvel Girl from DC or in Marvel 10. She's like a 70, 60, 54 point 54 point support TK with X-Men team ability. And then the Gambit from Wolverine and the X-Men, the really awesome one that throws objects for way too much damage.
Oh, yeah.
And Longshot. And then I ran the Phoenix Force with all three objects. The way I set it up was the Colossus Shard was on Magneto, so I could choose Invul or Invincible. That's something we actually ran into today that listeners should know. If you have Invincible and a Reducer, you cannot use them both. It's one or the other.
You can't use them both in the same step.
In the same step.
In the same action, actually, basically.
So, like, if someone hits you and then they have an after action resolve, take 1 damage, then you could choose a different one.
Correct.
But all in one attack, you pick one or the other. I love that option on Magneto because it meant that in order to get through me, they would have to pick at least 3 damage. Or deal at least 3 damage. Because if they dealt 2, I would choose Invul and then it'd be negated. If they dealt, if they dealt 3, they would actually get through both Invincible and Invul for 1 damage. Well, I also ran my team setup was kind of like a Pulse Wave setup. I wanted to TK Magneto out, get a Pulse Wave, TK him back to support and safety over and over again. I was intending on using a map with a lot of elevated and playing the cliffs to my advantage. Did not get that opportunity. My first round was against a general X-Men team. It had a lot of figures on it. He was running the Quentin Choir that TKs like 3 people at once. And like Archangel and stuff. Gambit did God's work that game. I mean, those objects hurt, and he was blasting like 5 splash damage on everyone, throwing objects. Running shot, throwing objects was great. Second game was against Hunter. And Hunter could not hurt Magneto to save his life at first. Hunter was running... Well, I'll let him explain his team when he gets into it, but I'm tired of seeing AVX Spider-Man across the table from me. I see him on average between the 6 games a week I play, probably 3 times a week for the last month. I'm so tired of playing against him. He got work done against Magneto with some heavy hits. My last game was against a full AVX Thor, Chaos War Hawkeye, Chaos War Scarlet Witch, I think, and Sharon Carter, which gave me some problems. I moved up improperly, and I got hit really hard by Thor right out the gate. And then Magneto kind of got crippled from there. I couldn't get a good line of fire to Pulse Wave just Thor or just one figure, and that really screwed with me. And that Hawkeye copying Mystics was a little problematic because I couldn't really blast him without risking knocking myself off my good values. Overall for the night I went 1-2. I really was not happy overall. I did get my Danger though, so I'm going to have fun playing that Danger with all the new Sentinels and Days of Future Past.
I played Avengers. I also designed my team for a specific map that I wasn't able to use. I designed it for the month 1, the Wundagore Mountain or map, the snow one,
Jotunheim 2.
Which we'll be talking about here in a few minutes on our main topic. But I've again, like Austin said, I've ran into matches against Spidey several times in the last few weeks and had trouble with them every time. Particularly the one match that I lost, the only match I lost against him, really. Or no, I went off.
That was last AVX, wasn't it?
But last round of last AVX was him on the Wundagore map, and you can't do anything about him. I mean, you can't tie him down because there's so many elevation changes and stuff on that map. So I was like, I've been wanting to try this Spidey for a long time. I sung his praises when we previewed the AVX kits. I talked about how good he was and how I wanted to play him, but I still haven't played him yet. So I'm going to play him. I'm going to play him on that map. I'm going to build with a lot of pluses so that I can get map choice, and then I'm going to play some other figures that take advantage of that particular map. So I chose some flyers, particularly Fear Itself Hawkeye, another piece I've been wanting to try, and the fact that he has flight and the end cap.
You've never played Fear Itself Hawkeye?
No.
I played 2 of them that 1 week. It's pretty good.
Wasp is one of my favorite figures, especially Avengers figures, but favorite figures, period. She's so good. She also is a flyer. And then Smoky Foot Cap, who is a figure I've played against a million times.
Ricky!
But never actually used. And he would be perfect for that map because he would ignore every bit of terrain without worrying about retaliation.
Yeah. Yep.
And I also had particular enhancements if I push certain people to buff up Cap's damage to blast people. And then I had 50-point Scarlet Witch and 33-point Donald Blake for support, and also, again, to get as many pluses towards map as I could. But then I was told we couldn't use certain maps, so the Latveria side of that map wasn't too bad for my team, though. At least not for Cap, and not too bad for Spidey. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as advantageous.
It took basically a couple movement off your hypersonic.
Yeah, and it made me more vulnerable than the mountain map would have been, but it still wasn't too bad. So I hit my plan of having a bunch of pluses to theme team and getting map worked. I did get map every round. And I would have Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, or Hawkeye and Wasp, end cap, any of the people who would give Spidey problems. And then with Spidey, I can run around, do his movement attack, smack people in the face with objects, and make him, and not worry about pushing him because Donald Blake can heal him back up. So that's exactly what I did. Each round, first of all, Hawkeye and Wasp both have special end cap powers. And Wasp has 2 bolts. She hits you with end cap, and then after she deals 1 penetrating to each figure. Hawkeye has triple bolt sharpshooter end cap, and then afterwards he rolls a 50-50 and has a chance to deal 1 damage each for each action token that the figures have if he hit them with end cap that turn. So I would go with Wasp first, give him the token and the 1 pin, then hit him with Hawkeye when they get 2 tokens, and then give him 2 damage. The only match I really had a lot of trouble in was Austin's at first, because my first match was pretty easy. Nothing really in particular to say about it. The second match was against Austin, who had Magneto. I did not play the Phoenix Force because, again, I put Donald Blake in there instead to heal up Hawkeye, who has the stop click, and Spider-Man, who needed to push. So I was like, I'd rather have Donald Blake and +1 to map than play the Phoenix Force, especially with it only having 3 things out so far. So I didn't play it. I have no comments on it yet about how good it is, but we will talk about it in the future.
Actually, that is one thing I forgot to talk about. The Phoenix Force itself, it's very versatile in regards to how you set it up because of those shards. You can give people a lot of really good tools. Colossus Shard, by far, I can already tell, is going to be the best shard on there. We had talked about it before, but it was ridiculous.
Toad City coming soon.
Toad City.
But the problem with it is that you can't play a pigeonhole team like I did, where my team was mostly ranged with it, because there are a lot of melee choices on there, but there's a lot of good mix between things. So you kind of need to run a good mixed team with it, because in my game against you, for instance, I think 4 of the Clix I was on the entire game pretty much were all melee based, so I really wasn't getting a lot of good bonuses outside of stat bonuses. And it kind of screwed me over sometimes when, like, Magneto would turn off of combat reflexes or something, and I'd turn on to flurry blades, when I'm not in melee range of anybody. Overall, the rule of thumb is if you're running that thing, pick at opponents, try to kill weak figures, and skyrocket down the thing. My first game, I got down on Invincible on the first dial, and all 3 of them had Invincible, and it made it almost impossible for my opponent to do any damage. It was just so ridiculous. It's a really good resource. If you're playing against it, try to drop it really fast, or try to drop your opponent fast. Don't give them the chance to move up it. However, if you're playing it, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get it down dial as fast as possible. There's times it's probably better to one-shot a weak figure that's kind of helping over taking a pot shot at a big figure.
All my opponents had it, and I was kind of trying to figure out how I wanted to handle it. Against Austin's team, at first I wanted to end cap and just slowly whittle them all down in fear of making somebody in particular like too powerful. But what I decided to do was just go ahead and just smash his character. Since I was running an end cap heavy team, I wanted to continue to take advantage of the actions, and so the best way to do that would be to kill off characters and take away his options, and that's exactly what I did. So the only real threat to Spider-Man in particular was going to be Magneto, because he has Pulse Wave.
Yep.
And he wouldn't have to deal with my shape change.
So mad I screwed that up. He would have been dead right there.
Wouldn't have to deal with the 3 things that I was depending on for defense: shape change, mystics, and traded super senses. So what I decided to do was to end cap Magneto and have Spidey tear up the rest of the team, which he did. I killed Gambit pretty quick because Austin forgot that Cap can hit Gambit even if he's stealthed. So I lined up my enhancements and perps, smacked Gambit off of stealth, and then finished him off. Long shot went down next, and then I kept end-capping Magneto. Like I said, I end-capped, my strategy was end-cap the figures that can give Spidey trouble, and then let Spidey run around and bust everybody else up. Magneto had Invul and Invincible. What makes it even better is actually specifically against 2 particular characters on my team, Wasp and Hawkeye. Because, like we said, after the action resolves, you could switch your option. So Wasp hits him with Incap, and typically if you have 2 tokens and you get hit with Incap, you take 1 penetrating for the action token. Or for having 2 tokens and then getting hit. Well, he can just choose Invincible and take none. Then after actions resolve, he takes 1 penetrating from Wasp's thing. He can just choose Invincible. When Hawkeye hits you, again, he already had 2 tokens. I hit him with Incap. That's 1 penetrating, not 1 unavoidable. So he gets to choose Invincible and not take any. Then I roll the dice, and even if I roll... actions resolve, I roll and I hit my roll, and typically he had to take 2 damage, but then he can choose Invul and not take any damage, because it's after action resolve. So I kept hitting him and slowing him down, but I couldn't hurt him.
Corey had the best name for it. It's basically like in fighting games, what's called an option select, where no matter what comes, you have 1 of 2 options to kind of solve the problem. And that's why I really think people... I don't want to say people are sleeping on the Colossus Shard. I think people really need to pay attention to it. Make sure you know if your opponent sets that thing across from you, who the Colossus Shard is on, or if it's on the base. Because it is a big deal. Make sure you announce your penetratings and everything against that character, because your opponent will try to pull a fast one on you.
So I couldn't hurt him. And even though I was busting people up, I couldn't hurt Magneto. So Austin had Pulse Wave Spidey successfully, but Spidey was still alive. So I ran him back to Donald Blake, healed him up.
So mad about that. I thought Longshot had Precision Strike. So I running shot and went to shoot Spidey, which would have killed him. And ends up he doesn't have it on top dial. However, I did have charge.
He doesn't?
No, he has an empty attack power on top dial.
Oh yeah,
but I did have charge. I had charge blades on the Phoenix Force, so I could have just charged Spidey and killed him instead.
But he went for the running shot.
I went for the running shot, and he hit super senses.
And so Spidey gets his 50-50 super senses on range.
So mad.
So I ran Spidey back to Donald, healed him up. While he's taking the time to heal up, I just keep end-capping Magneto, pumping all my perps and probs into attack just so I can keep Magneto tied up with tokens. And then once Spidey got healed up, picks up an object, hits for 5, but Magneto invincibles that to 2. But taking that twice while staying tokened,
Yep. The
just
tokens
whittled
were
him
what
down.
started killing me. Was I couldn't do anything, and having just like one big piece carrying most of my damage at that point, when he's literally locked down turn after turn after turn.
My third match was really hard too. My opponent had Nightcrawler and who all did he have? Nightcrawler, Longshot, AVX, Cyclops,
Jean Grey.
I
thought he had Gravity Feed Jean Grey.
No, didn't have Gravity Feed Jean Grey. I'm forgetting somebody. I'll think of it in a second. But I saw that he had a TKer and he had Nightcrawler. So I look at the map, I'm like, well, he can hit me in my starting zone, so I don't want to give up first round immunity. And then I counted out Nightcrawler's squares and noticed that he ignores everything when he moves. I was like, he can reach me without TK on this map. So what I'll do is I'll move out Smoky Foot, I'll position my dudes, I'll put Scarlet Witch Bay in the back corner, and I'll move out Smoky Foot to this certain area. And if he comes after Smoky Foot and hits, first of all, he's going to have to hit at 8. And then I'll have Scarlet Witch probbed back to that square where he thinks she's, he won't notice her. And sure enough, that's what happened. He comes up, rolls the 8, Scarlet Witch probs from way back in the corner with a weird line of sight, but it lines up. And I surprised him with the prob. He hit the 8 again. I was like, well, son of a bitch. I'll theme team prob with Cap. Theme team prob with Cap. He hit the 8 again. So he did successfully hit my Cap. And took him over, dropped him, finished him off. I was like, well, shit. My plan backfired. Like, he hit an 8 3 times in a row. So I thought I was going to lose. What I ended up having to do was run my guys around the outside of the map, slowly in-cap people, particularly Nightcrawler, and just kind of whittle them down. I know that Nightcrawler, I've played him enough to know that if you can hit him for about 3 clicks, he loses his capture, like hit and then drop you power. So I managed to finally knock him off of that, and then I just slowly picked the rest of the team apart. On the Latveria map, though, Cyclops is really good because he shoots
I figured he would be.
He shoots blocking, and there's tons of blocking in that map, so I can't hide from him. And he's killed my Cap, who usually you can't hide from.
Yeah.
So he hit Hawkeye to stop Clix, but didn't tie him up or finish him off. Hawkeye flew back to Donald Blake, got healed full. And then
I hate Donald Blake.
He
so
hurt
much.
Spidey pretty bad. I rushed Spidey back to Donald Blake and healed full. The turning point in the match was about midway through, and I feel like I made a good decision because it all paid off. There was a point where we both were pretty beaten up. He was probably slightly in the lead, and I had his Cyclops and my Spidey next to each other, and I had Flurry on Spidey, and I could easily kill the Cyclops. But if I did, I'd have 2 tokens, and Longshot could retaliate, and I think Cyclops could hit me the turn after. So I was like, I could finish his Cyclops off now and take the lead in this match and hope that I don't get shot and killed and make him take Mystics. Or I can run away because Spidey ignores characters, run back to Donald, take time and heal up, and leave Wasp by herself with Wasp and Scarlet Witch by themselves for a minute while Spidey gets healed up. And basically I'll be at a disadvantage now, but later in the game I'll be at the advantage. So that's what I decided to do. I played it safe, ran Spidey back, healed him up, Scarlet Witch barriered, I put Wasp in hindering, and then perplexed her defense. So now you have a Wasp with super senses, +1 defense from hindering, +1 defense from perplex from Scarlet Witch, and +1 defense from range for being tiny size. So I have a 20 defense super senses sitting in the hindering, and then Scarlet Witch with prob to back her up. And they kind of delayed the game long enough for Hawkeye and Spider-Man to get healed up and then rush back in. And then from there, I kind of cleared them out. Phoenix, I didn't really want to kill because she heals everybody, so I managed to save her for last. Knocked her off of Hypersonic. Oh, that's who he had, Dark Phoenix. That's the gene you're thinking of.
Yeah.
He had a 100-point Dark Phoenix. I knocked her off of Hypersonic, and then I was like, well, I'm not worried about her now. Because what's she really going to do? She didn't have move attack at all. She just had TK, so... Knocked her onto that, saved her for the end of the match, and then killed her right before last action. I ended up getting first place in the whole thing and had a pretty fun day. So it was a really good team, better than I usually build. I've been playing in-cap teams a lot lately. I think that's kind of my strategy of choice now.
I'm beginning to hate it.
Just because it's very control and it's very frustrating on your opponents. And you just kind of try to make them crack before you crack. You know, try to mentally kind of throw them off balance a little bit, and that's kind of my thing. Today we had best build.
Yes, we did.
And we did record a couple matches. I'm going to try to process them and get them on our YouTube channel.
One of them was not worth watching, and I'll get into that later.
One of them on our YouTube channel. The build was our kind of Valentine's Day build. I didn't want to do guys and girls like everybody always did. I wanted to do something a little different. So I went with, on your starting click, your figure must have a red or a pink power. And we had 3 teams. We picked 3 teams out of about 30 submissions from you guys. Our finalists were... Did I write them down? I'll pull them up here while we talk about the teams. My team was Bane from all Arkham Origins pieces. Bane, 2 Bane Thugs, and Deadshot from Arkham Origins. And we got like 3 or 4 teams that were Bane and Bane Thugs and something else. And I originally picked one that had 3 Bane Thugs, and I changed it to Deadshot because I've been wanting to try him too. So, and then it was a Worker Spider and Book, I think. So the strategy with this team was play on the X-Men map that's on the alien ship, and it's like a yellow floor with elevated on each side down the map. And I noticed that Deathstroke has stealth, and he ignores stealth. So what I would do, or not Deathstroke, Deadshot. So what I would do is give Deadshot Grathos Hammer so he has giant size, so that A, he ignores hindering on movement, and he can hop from hindering to hindering and line up his shots better, and see people who are hiding from him on the sides. And so that he would have ignores elevated too, so if I needed to all of a sudden rush up to the top to hide from somebody, I could do that and then still take a shot. And so I'm staying in stealth myself, but I'm also shooting people who are in stealth. And he has the traded, if you shoot one person, you get prob. Or you can shoot 2 people and get your energy explosion off. Well, typically I would have tried to keep them still, use RCE, put it both on damage, and then save the prob since I'm putting it both on damage. But with hammers and a 13 or a 14 attack, why not? You don't really need the prob. Why not aim at 2 people, energy explosion on each section, and do lots of damage, and spin the book, mind you, too, because for each person that takes damage, you're spinning the book. That's what I ended up doing, and it turned out excellent. And then I was giving Bane Anger's Hammer because I saw he had 2 stop clicks at the end, and on his stop clicks he gets better. I was like, I'll give this mug some steel energy, and then even if they hit him to his stop clicks, I'll just drop hammers and heal them back up. And you're going to keep on hitting him on his stop clicks and making him stronger and stronger.
Talking about.
So, and then the 2 Bane Thugs, I was giving Grathos or some running shot here and there, or just whatever they needed at the moment. I gave them running shot in the first game, and it actually came in really handy because they kind of don't really expect if you don't pay attention to what hammers I'm giving them, like even though I say the name, like you see the little Bane Thug and you see he has charge, and you're like, okay, he's going to charge me, and he has no range, and you forget that hammers give minimum 4 range.
Yeah.
So I would just use them to either run up, take shots, or they have power. I would run them up next to Bane, and he'd smack the crap out of somebody, or I'd use them to tie up, which is what I did against Austin. First match, and I have 2 assassins, which when you play the assassins, you pick a character for that particular assassin. If you kill them, you get an extra 50 points. And they each get 50. So if I get both of them right, then I'm getting an extra 100 points. And both of my I took the first round bye, and then both of my last 2 games, I got both of my targets and got an extra 100 points on each match. So that was really awesome. And I'd say the best figure was, I don't know, Bane and Deadshot are both really sick. I highly recommend anybody plays them. And Shiva, when I played her last week, she was really sick. The Arkham Origin set is seeming pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, those are 3 of the ones that we said were kind of the best ones out of it, but still, they were absolutely excellent pieces, and I do recommend you guys try them if you haven't yet. So far, I haven't lost a match with any Arkham Origins piece, so really liking the set, and really liking those figures in particular. They're expensive, but they deal out quite a bit of damage. Against Austin, I noticed that he had the Iron Man who sees through stealth, the 001, so my Deadshot strategy wasn't going to work, and I couldn't get out far enough to get hammers without him shooting me turn 1. So I basically accepted that he was going to shoot me.
Yep.
There's nothing I could do about it, but I would live, and then I could retaliate. So that's what I did. He hit me for 5, I think, 4 or 5, and then, but of course, Deadshot lived. He went on to Running Shot, Psychic Blast, Perplex, and then that gave Bane and the thugs enough time to get hammers. So I dropped a hammer on Bane, rushed a thug up to tie Iron Man, so that Deadshot had time to pick up a hammer, and the thug kind of slowed Iron Man down long enough for me to blast Austin and get kind of caught up with him. Oh, also, Austin rolled a 6 on regen, so it basically all of that went to naught. But it didn't matter because by the time that Austin regened and then cleared, Big Daddy Bane was coming up with Anger's Hammer and flooded 3 characters, and then every turn I'm Quake. Worker Spider taking action, Quake. Next turn, free Quake. Worker Spider taking action, Quake. Like
you probably healed 10 clicks on that freaking.
And I was just quaking all day.
I mean, I had Gamora and I flurried him for freaking 3 and then 3, and then you're like, right back.
Yeah, and I finally got to use his rocket, which was awesome because he had Spider-Woman left in stealth, and I didn't get to use the rocket the first game. This game, I saw that you ignore hindering, so I ignored her stealth, and he had super senses, but Bane has precision strike.
And he gets RCE.
And he gets RCE when he uses the rocket launcher. I just blasted her. It was awesome. Bane was a blast, man.
I liked my team. I liked my team. I just wish it had hammers instead of belt.
What was your team also?
My team was the 001 Iron Man at half dial. He has a pretty short dial at half dial, though. He's got, I think, 5 or 6 clicks. And he's got regen halfway into it, but he goes invul, toughness, regen, invul, toughness, regen, I think. It was the Chaos War Spider-Woman. Is it main set or gravity feed?
Gravity feed, I think.
It's the one that picks whether she is Hydra
gravity.
or Shield.
She's really good for 55 points.
I like her for 55
good
points.
Good tie-up, good damage, actually, for 55 points.
Black Widow from the
Fear Itself
set, and Gamora.
Secret Invasion Gamora.
Secret Invasion
The
Gamora.
best one.
She's really good at top
for
dial.
her points.
She's stupid.
Her whole dial for her points is just nuts.
Yeah, she's got exploit for most of her clicks. She's got willpower.
She gets flurry a lot. She gets outwit sometimes.
Lots of blades.
Lots of reflexes. She's great. She's one of the best tie-up melee pieces.
So the team idea that I went with was whenever I won map roll, which I won at my first 2 games, I went with Realm of Death, of course, my classic map, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure. I've played this map so much it is literally falling apart every time we fold it.
He's not kidding.
It breaks more and more. I need to actually order a new one now. I probably play this map almost...
I played a lot.
I played at least once a week for sure, sometimes twice a week. In actual bring it with me and play it. The setup was, depending on what side my opponent picked, I would go farther in the maze in the center, set up everything, and I would shield enhance Iron Man to shoot 9 out. My opponents typically weren't aware of the fact that one of the things I kind of like about that Spider-Woman is that she has kind of hidden shield, and it's easy for your opponents to forget she has it because of that. And once again, it comes down to what your opponent doesn't know. But the game, I declared she had shield. Opponents just wouldn't notice it as the game went on. Set her next to Iron Man. He would have 9 range, ignoring all the walls in the maze, while my opponents are trying to work their way in. And then, boom, I would just shoot through one wall and blast somebody for 5 damage right out. And then afterwards, I would outwit whatever their offensive capability was, so they couldn't blast me back through it as easily. Gamora and Black Widow would sneak around through the outside of the maze. And once my opponents are kind of preoccupied with Iron Man, they would charge and just smack the crap out of them. First game was against a full AVX Magneto and Magic from the Phoenix 5 Magic. With Phoenix Force Resource. He kept Colossus on the base. to give them both invul, which is really good. Black Widow and Gamora went up on Magic and wrecked her. Like, I was rolling 5s on my blades all day. That Black Widow is really good. I miss her having Scotty's hammer, though, because what makes her absolutely perfect is her with exploit. But she's really good. Good charge range. She's a flyer. She carried Gamora here and there. Magic got a lot of poison damage off of me, though, and weakened them both immensely. Iron Man got some great pot shots on that Magneto. Magneto managed to kill Spider-Woman really quick, actually, and then finished off Iron Man shortly afterwards when the Phoenix Force dial granted him hypersonic down dial a little bit. And then he just mopped up the last two. Second game was against Phoenix Force Phoenix Force, I want that piece, though. I want that to be a piece. Phoenix Force Cyclops and M from Wolverine and the X-Men at half dial. It was another tentpole team setup where you have two powerful figures plus the Phoenix Force resource. I'm expecting to see a lot of those in the future. Basically, he moved up on Iron Man not knowing I could shoot through walls. I enhanced up. I blasted Cyclops really hard. I ran Black Widow and Gamora up and finished off Cyclops with some high blades rolls, and then went after M. That game ended really quickly. The thing about that Gamora that's kind of ridiculous is she gets Blades exploit on a few points, and it's stupid good.
We'll get into Blades exploit.
Third match was against Hunter, and Hunter already recapped it pretty well. I positioned myself to where I was trying to slow down his hammers a little bit to push on him, give him some pressure. Utility Belt overall for the whole thing wasn't as useful as I would have liked it to be. The combat value modifiers weren't as helpful on Spider-Woman, because Spider-Woman herself doesn't have... She's like a 10-3 on top dial and drops to like a 9-2 immediately. Overall, though, her lack of range and everything meant that all these combat value modifiers were usually going to waste. Then I had Iron Man position, shielded him, shot Deadshot for a huge hit. Hunter just full ran Bane up while it was tokened, and then just started dropping hammers for Quakes. You crit one Quake.
No, I didn't.
I thought you did. Maybe that was my...
No, I didn't crit it.
I thought someone crit a Quake today.
I would remember a crit, Austin. They come few and far between for me.
Oh, no, it was Jay critting his Pulse Wave with Magneto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I had the pacing down on our match where even after your regen, I knew I would get to move up Bane without you being able to retaliate. So I was like, Bane's going in.
And see, and what sucked is when Bane had Precision Strike, Black Widow really had no defense against it. So she took every single one of those Quakes, and he healed from every single one of those Quakes.
Mm-hmm.
It was painful. That Bane is a bit ridiculous with Anger's Hammer. I think some anti-relic stuff would shut him down pretty easily, though. Lots of poison would definitely shut him down. Well, Anger's Hammer gives toughness, never mind. Overall, I went 1-2 again. It has not been my week by any means. I like the team. I think a little bit of tweaking would have been better for it.
Just a quick note, Austin's team was from Bane Anners, which is a really cool name, on Gmail, and my team was CB Hawk, also from Gmail. And then, Drew, you played Stand-Up Mans.
Or as I called him in the video, Steve. I didn't...
And his team was AVX Cyclops at 100, GSX Emma Frost. Had you played her before?
No.
Did you like her?
We'll get into it.
She's pretty efficient.
We'll get into it.
AVX Wolverine at 75, and then Wolverine and the X-Men Colossus, the 100-point version. Fear Self Asgardian Warrior, and then Book with how many hammers?
Okay.
6 hammers.
Let's start this off correctly.
Real quick, is your backpack in here? Because the AVX Wolfie reminded me. I've been looking for the bastard. I'm trying to find his card.
Yeah, it should be.
Is this the time?
Or it might be out. Anyways, I'm sorry you were interrupted, Drew.
It's okay. I mean,
there's some
Austin,
rude people.
I've got a burning question that's been driving me mad all day.
What I could probably answer for you.
This card will come up on here.
Just go. No, it doesn't.
Why wouldn't it?
Because he doesn't have the team-based thing on there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Anyway.
Proceed, Drew. I'm so sorry that there are rude people in this room.
I don't know what you're talking about. Screw you guys. I'm just going to go out here and totally not inconspicuously look for your backpack.
How was the team?
What an asshole. Let's talk shit about Austin.
Yeah, we do that to his face.
I know, good point. Okay, so the team was pretty good. He designed a pretty good team. We got there, and Hunter Smith, much to my chagrin, because I hadn't gotten to play it yet, failed to bring... This team was originally designed with the power plant and 8 rings.
We had to modify it at the last second
We had
due to unfortunate circumstances. But the good thing about the team was it was already a mix of like half range, half attack. So Book and him are kind of both, Book and power plant kind of both.
I think power plant would have been slightly better, but it's okay. I'll get into it. My first game was pretty easy. I went up against the team Austin mentioned earlier, the Cyclops and the M, and he got really cocky. I think I set out Cyclops to bait, and boy did he take that bait. And he got in charge range of both Wolvie and Colossus. So they both ran over, and they just had a good old-fashioned, corner beatdown. It was literally like... Let's talk about that Emma, because...
Emma is really... She's from the Giant Size X-Men. This is the old version, not the new version.
If you want a ranged Emma...
she's really good. I've played her a whole lot, actually.
She is insanely sick, I'm not going to lie. Her top click is where it's at, though. Running Shot, Psychic Blast, Super Senses, Enhancement, 8 range, Brotherhood team ability, X-Men team ability. She's got X-Men keywords, so I was playing an X-Men theme team. Good design.
It's the best thing about her, she only has 1 clicker of move and attack. But it's the fact that she has 8 range, which is very good nowadays, especially with the Psychic Blast and Enhancement, so that she's helping the rest of your range guys. And then the Psychic Blast, of course, on top of that, or the Super Sense.
Yeah, because that Cyclops needs
Give her Null's Hammer, and she becomes an unstoppable force of destruction.
Yep.
Cyclops clears the way with his, blocking terrain, and then you just mop up.
Which is how it should be. Emma and Cyclops should be sick together.
Gene plus Scott forever.
That Wolverine, 75-point Wolverine from Avengers vs. X-Men.
I'm sad I found his card. He doesn't get both team bases.
I didn't think he did. Top dial charge blade exploit. That's all you need to know.
That's 75
This is the gambling man's Wolverine right here. You are never not gonna blades.
Yeah, he only has 2 damage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and he does have Indom though.
Yeah, he has Indom. He has blades. He has 2 damage. He has exploit and charge. That's all you need to know.
And ignore Sindri too.
Yes, which is really good. My second game was up against.
Was the first team even? That doesn't sound like a lot of points.
He was about 23 points under.
No, that doesn't help either. Yeah, because I was gonna say M plus the Phoenix,
it wasn't a full. It was
350.
Only
So,
and then my next game was up against Black Panther from ABX, Storm from
Wolverine X-Men team base.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cute team.
Yeah, and it was, and we'll get into that. And Bishop from Wolverine and the X-Men.
Now it's just creepy.
Yeah, there's weird 3 ways going on here.
Is he going for an African American comic book theme?
I know. It was Walter.
Bishop and Storm were a couple for a short period of time, weren't they?
Yeah, that's what he said he was going for.
I don't know.
Anyway,
them dreadlocks, son.
Once again, Cyclops was perfect bait. This time he didn't die, though. Instead, Colossus died. But, I made short work of his team. Emma and Wolvie, and just whenever you hit a 6 blades with exploit, you just know that you're the man.
I wouldn't know what that feels like, Drew.
It's just...
I'll take your word for it.
Hunter has to play at least 5 probs.
You've gotten the 6 blades.
I have hit it. I'm sure I've hit it at once or twice in my life, yeah.
It's a good feeling.
It is a good
It's a really good feeling.
Rolling 6 on blades, period.
Yeah.
Or even 5.
I hit 5.
5 is just... Yeah.
I hit 5 all day today.
Well, so that's because you're Austin Smith. Anyway, my third game wasn't even fair for me. I went up against Harry, and Harry, I know you're listening, and I know you're gonna be my new buddy to GP because it just moved. But Harry, what the fuck, man? He was playing Invincible Iron Man 1 Iron Man. He was playing 2 shield snipers, and I can't even remember her name. It was the chick that gives other shield members...
Sharon Carter.
No, +1.
Victoria Hand.
Victoria Hand. This team wasn't even fair. He shoots through everything. It doesn't matter. He had the Phoenix Force resource dial on him. And they had sidestep. This guy had 7...
There's a shard that gives sidestep?
No, on the dial there's sidestep at quite a few places.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Especially since he kept, I think, 1 or 2 shards on there.
Once he killed Cyclops, which wasn't hard, because he hit him for 7.
Through walls.
Through walls. Let's see, top dial with the shield TA, he has 16 effective range. There's 24 squares on the map, and if you're starting at the end of a map, and I picked the negative zone prison because that map's good for my team, and it was better for his team. But it's just this guy's not even fair. He was like, well, if you were able to tie me up by some force of nature, God forbid that Colossus would even be able to get through the fucking 85,000 hindering.
Really, that's what got me on Hunter's game, was once that Iron Man is tied up, though, he does have problems. Especially on half dial.
I must say, only never mind, I like Harry. I don't like Austin. I was like, good thing you didn't submit this team, Harry, otherwise Austin would have picked it immediately.
Totally would have. No, I really wanted to play a team of Tony and Gamora, since now that they've banged in the comics, they're legal for Valentine's Day events.
So, the winner was, the best build was my guy.
Oh, okay, just go ahead.
My God.
CB Hawk. So I'll be I think he was from Gmail. Yeah, he's from Gmail. So I contact you and figure out what kind of chips you want. And that kind of leads us
into our main topic.
Let's do main topic first. Talking about maps, and we just mentioned a couple of them that are on here. So a lot of people have been requesting information on what are some good maps to pick up, what are some good maps that are great for specific strategies, and I also put some on here that are good anti-certain strategies, and we'll get into that. So I kind of tried to narrow it down to 10 and try to keep them mostly modern age so that they're legal for competitive play right now. And also, I know this is a topic where you kind of want to see what we're talking about, so I'm going to link images to each of these maps in the podcast description. If you open it up on Podbean or Reddit or HC Realms, if you find our threads or whatever there, you'll see links to each of these. You'll see the URLs for them. The only one I couldn't get a really good one for was Port of Miami from the Iron Man 3 starter set. Nobody has posted a good image.
Spoilers!
So,
because no one bought the Iron Man 3 starter set.
It had some great figures in it.
It had some okay figures in it.
It had some great figures in it.
It had some
half
okay
of them were
figures
garbage, but the other half were pretty good.
The number one map you should absolutely have is the Fear Itself Pacific Ocean map.
Oh my gosh.
Because the antis benefits of this map are ridiculous. First of all, let's go to pros. The obvious one, fucking water teams. Okay. The whole map
America don't care about nothing.
The whole map is water. It has some hindering, and it has a decent amount of elevated. And even though you deactivate the orange rules during tournament play, that actually makes it even tougher for people who have trouble with this map to deal with the map. Because the orange rules kind of help you deal with the map.
Yeah, they actually kind of help you.
So, it's good for water teams, but like I said, the main thing that this is awesome about this map is its anti-qualities. First of all, objects can't be placed on this map because there is no clear square of terrain on the entire map.
It's all water.
It's all hindering or water. So opponents can't place objects. So if they're playing Absorbing Man, pick this map. What are they going to do? What are they going to absorb? Nothing. If they're playing a heavy super strength team, pick this map. If they're playing a barrier team, pick this map. There's no clear square.
Yeah, you can't place
They can't place barrier.
Smoke cloud too, right?
The only smoke cloud can go on anything except blocking. Or relics. They can't place an object on the map. So, those are 3, especially barrier. Having a map that absolutely nerfs a barrier team. Like, if my opponent and I roll off, and I see he has Phantom X and a couple Jinxes,
you know what?
I'm pulling out this map. Yep. Even if all my dudes are grounded.
Yep,
I'm still pulling out this map because I just effed over his entire strategy of what he's going to do.
I can think of every time I've played Justice League team base at like 500 points and they play it at like 300 with a bunch of barrier figures. You did that to me. I really wish I had this map then because it would have completely changed it.
So this is definitely a must-own in my opinion these days. Bridge from Web of Spider-Man is one we
that map.
We talk about quite a bit. I think everyone should own this map, especially if you're going to be playing range teams, because it gives you just a straight shot, especially for also energy explosion.
Yeah, this is stupid for... I would like to point out that Austin just said he hates the bridge when in fact all he ever plays is range teams.
I've played so many times.
I'm just saying the hypocrisy is thick.
You technically start 2 squares forward. Both teams start 2 squares forward. Most people will choose to go the full starting areas.
Correct.
Which does give you
even if they don't, you're at least getting 2 closer by scooting 2 closer.
The reason I personally hate the bridge is because I've played on it quite a few times. It provides really good cover for stealth teams.
Yep, that was my next point. It range teams, particularly range stealth teams or range flyers. Because the thing about this map is the fact that it's all water on the sides. Most of the time, nobody will ever go out there, especially if they're grounded, because they'll get stuck. So it's basically a kill zone. The entire middle of the map is a giant kill zone. And if you have energy explosion, particularly, like I said, you're going to get off some energy explosion damage on this map because they're going to be clumped together.
Funny story about this map. Remember that team, the Justice League team I played the other week that I didn't get to talk about?
The Martian Manhunter team?
No, that was
me.
That was Austin's.
Oh.
Mine was the Tab App Wonder Woman, Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
And someone picked this map, and I flew Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman out on the terrain, and I just kept hypersonicking back and forth, and I was just like, okay, I can deal with this.
The other thing is, this is a really good map for characters that have Force Blast, because if they have, now that Force Blast triggers on attacks, you could range blast someone, knock them into the water, and it's really hard for their melee characters to get back on the map after that. They have to waste a full turn to do it.
Another good thing about this map is if you're playing a book team, you can go to the side of your starting area, 5 squares on the other side of each elevated, and then drop hammers from there while still being maximum squares away from your opponent as possible. So you can, and making it hard to draw a line of fire back to you if you're back in the corner. So hammer teams on this map are really good. It's anti-close combat, of course, since you're getting to take lots of shots at them while they move up on you. You will have to deal with some hindering bonuses, but still, the fact that you have a giant kill zone
not if you're
while they're going.
0-0-1.
It's also very good against Hand and Legion of Assassins teams because there's not really hardly any blocking or any walls or anything besides the very back corners
unless
of the
they're going to stay out of the back.
I actually do. This is a map I do need to personally use more offensively. I've just played against more people that have picked it against me because it does, as you said, it does screw over some melee teams as they're moving up. I just haven't had a chance to play it as a range team.
Drew, did you need to say anything?
I was playing Batman and Green Arrow on this map, and by the way, it's completely unfair. But yeah, go ahead.
Third map that I think people should own, particularly if you're a big fan of Kryptonian teams, is the Mental Plane.
Oh my gosh, this map.
From Infinity Gauntlet. This is the one that looks like a giant chessboard. The reason it's good for Kryptonian is because it's all the same... a couple reasons. One, it's all the same elevation, so your Kryptonian ATA is going to be in effect the whole time as long as you stay away from hindering or walls, which it is kind of hard to do, but for the most part, when I play this map, and I always play Kryptonians on this map, you almost always can pull it off. And the other thing I really like about this map for Kryptonians or for Superman in general is taking full advantage of hypersonic.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of... First of all, you're a flyer. This is actually outdoors, even though it looks like it would be indoors.
It's outdoors, yeah.
And then you can fly over all of these squares of blocking, or even around if you need to. You can fly around, hit people or shoot people, and then go back to hiding very easily.
It's one of those maps that if you really abuse the point of knocking your opponents off their move and attack, it's a really effective map for that kind of strategy. You just start popping opponents, get them off their charge, and you could basically just keep going around corners, smacking them, running back with no problems.
This is also one of the better Hand and League of Assassin maps too.
For the opposite reason that it's good for
the fact that there's tons of blocking to stay next to.
Yeah.
I mean, while you're moving up, there's always somewhere that you can stay. There's almost always a square that you can move into that's going to be adjacent to blocking. There's lots of blocking on this map. And it's good against range-heavy teams. There's plenty of places to hide to block line of fire. I personally have played, a couple weeks ago, a Kryptonian team that was mostly either hypersonic or melee-based, and played against 3 range-heavy teams, and besides Omen, who doesn't give a shit about anything, I was very successful at blocking lines of fire and slowly moving in on my opponent, and it really sucks to be a range team on this map.
This would be a good map for 001 Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
What's not a good fucking map for that guy?
Fourth map I think people should have with them is the Garden from Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes, yeah.
It will be phased out, but for the time being, it's one of the better stealth maps to own. Lots of hindering, and it's pretty flat. It's all outdoors, but it's all the same elevation.
And there's only 2 single squares of blocking on the whole map, which is really great.
Batman family's best friend.
Yeah, this is really good for stealth teams,
3 squares.
Superman ally teams, because you get to ignore the hindering while your opponents have to give it to you when they shoot you or deal with it. And also outsiders teams for the same reason, that you can use the hindering to your benefit defensively, and then you can outsiders them to not have to worry about the hindering.
And TKO teams.
And TK teams, yeah, that's a good one too. I forgot to mention. It's anti.
It's a great TKO.
It's anti-hand and League Assassin abilities because there's no blocking on the. There's like 2 squares of blocking, and they're in the very back corners, pretty much.
Yeah, I've played this map pretty extensively, and I love it.
Next one is the one that Drew played today, the Chaos War Negative Zone Prison, and especially if your venue lets you use the special rules. This map is particularly good for barrier teams because of the special rules, and even without the special rules, it's a pretty good barrier map. The special rules allow the walls in the starting area to not be destroyed. So if you have a figure like a Phantom X or a Iron Pharaoh or something like that can, or a Professor X that can stay and draw lines of fire through other people, this map's your best friend.
This will be a good Danger Sentinels map
because it's only forward wide across the front. You can have one barrier sitting back, one barrier figure. He throws out one single barrier, and now you're completely locked in because, again, these walls cannot be destroyed. So it's harder for people to come in. It's harder for them to blow up multiple things to get into you. Yep. It's hard. They can't take Curse Hammer and drill right through the side to get to your team. They can't destroy the terrain. And even if you're not playing on the orange squares, there's still tons of areas where a couple blocking terrains mark off big lines of fire angles and stuff. So it's really good for barrier teams, and it's anti-ranged teams for the most part. There's plenty of places where you can hide or kind of just sit behind that blocks line of fire.
This is a great hand map.
Especially if you have like sidestep or something like that, where you can just shoot.
Oh my gosh!
Then sidestep over behind a wall.
Hand with the Phoenix Force and sidestep.
Drew played Absorbing Man on this map against me with the barrier team, and it took me. I had to eat through so many barriers just to get to my eat through walls. I was playing that duo Iron Man War Machine. It was just annoying trying to get to his pieces, nonetheless actually hit him.
Krakoa is a map that everybody knows and mostly loves.
Krakoa.
Krakoa is really cool, whether you play with the rules or not, but especially if you play with the rules, of course. Krakoa is great for stealth teams, particularly ones that have dampeners that don't have to worry about the damage part of the roll. But it's got crap tons of hindering terrain, so if you're playing stealth, or again, playing Superman Ally or Outsiders or something where you can take advantage of hindering on line of fire and not have to worry about it, offensively, this is a great map. And then it sucks to be a swarm team on this map for the sake of...
I played zombies on this map once, and it ended the game so fast.
It sucks to be a swarm team because of the possibilities of the rolls that cause, lots of people damage. And it sucks to be a stealth team if you don't have dampeners, because you can't hide in that hindering without the risk of getting busted on the rolls.
This map is great against Chaos War Hawkeye. That's what people used to run it specifically for. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love it. I love using it against opponents to shut down their strategies.
Next is a map I mentioned earlier, Wundagore Mountain from AVX Month 1. This map has tons of elevations. It has, it starts, let's see, I guess it only goes up to 3, but it's the fact that it changes elevations quite a bit.
It's got nice blocking up at the
I was going to say, and then at the top there's lots of blocking. This is AVX Spider-Man's best friend, for one. This would be a great map for hypersonic flyers like Superman teams, so that's another one that I want to mention is either flyers or ignoring elevated characters on movement have field days on this map, because if you are all grounded, it takes an eternity to crawl, because I had to do it myself the first month of AVX. If you only have like one flyer or less, getting to where the action is in the middle of the map takes forever to walk towards the stairs and around. Like, it just takes forever. And by then, they get the high ground and they get to shoot down on you while you're coming up.
This is... Yeah. Well, I was going to say this is another Book of Skulls map that's really good because of the fact that you can get up on... You have a lot of good spots to hide, to wait and drop your hammers. And then, for example, Skirn's hammer has a field day with this map because you just ignore elevated with that hammer. Mm-hmm. You're just running up and down and smacking people that 1 minute ago couldn't get anywhere near you.
Month 1, I played this map. Month 1 AVX, I played this map with that Magic who can use those teleportation discs.
Yep.
And you get your team up there. You got your flyers moving up there easily. And if they're playing, I've noticed the Avengers, like some of them don't have a lot of good movement. So he was just constantly moving around the side. And I was just like picking them off with Emma and Cyclops.
So good for flyers, good for ignoring elevated. Bad to be a swarm team on this map, Definitely. Or to have a lack of the carry ability in general on this map. And it's also a good force blast map.
Yes.
Because they're going to be knocking people either into walls on the top or off of elevated at multiple points in the map.
This map made me love to appreciate Cyclops and his amazing force blast.
You know what? I'm starting to think that, we kind of ragged on that Iron Man from AVX because he's okay, but he has all his damage is knockback. I'm beginning to think that maybe he would be really good on a lot of the AVX maps we've seen. Like, both sides of both Month 2 and Month 1's maps have had great opportunities for knockback play. So I think having a map like this where you knock someone off 3 squares, or 3 height the elevated, or into like 50 things of blocking is really good.
Next one we want to mention is one we mention all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Realm of Death. Very good. Probably the best hand or line of League of Assassins map. There's pretty much no square on the damn thing.
I think you mean the best map ever.
Yeah. Great book map. You can go out, like the bridge, you can go out horizontally from your starting zone, be far enough to drop hammers, and still have walls that are blocking lines of fire. Really on both sides. There's a wall right there, too.
No. On the other side of the map, it's a completely different setup. You can't run sideways.
Yeah, but you still got a gigantic wall there.
Yeah, you still have lots of cover. You can run into here and then drop right there.
And that's the other thing I like about this map, too, is as much as I like my symmetry on maps, this is one of those maps where picking your starting position right actually is really important. Like, giving your opponent the choice is not good for you because they can pick one that kind of slows you down a lot.
Usually, map side choice is kind of like... Oh.
It's been kind of nullified in recent.
Yes, but this map, it actually does matter a ton.
I love this map for a lot of different teams, and it's one of those maps that as you play it and you really get to know its little ins and outs, you can really play off of it really well with even range teams. I play range teams on this map all the time to good effect. You just set up the corridors as kill boxes and stuff like that.
I haven't got to play him yet, but I think AVX Cyclops would... I love that piece now. I don't know what it is, but...
Yeah, honestly, that's a piece I would like to play on this map, too. Anything that ignores blocking. Kurth is a monster on this map. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I've played Kurth on this map. I know that a lot of other people have, too. You just grab your opponent, you run him through 3 walls. All of a sudden, they can't reach you wherever you dragged him to, and he's in a kill zone in the back, and he just took 3 extra damage. I mean, there's just so much fun stuff with this map. I really like these heavy blocking maps.
So great for hand League of Assassins, book, or close combat teams. Horrible for range teams.
I wouldn't say horrible.
Depends what you're playing.
It's pretty much horrible because unless you have Cyclops or Iron Man that can shoot through blocking, which I say again is a stupid.
It's the dumbest
game design. You take ranged based teams, which are already way better than melee teams, and then you give them the ability to get around the one thing that close combat has that it can do to combat it, and that's pick maps that help it stay protected. I just don't understand their thinking on that. And I talked about it when we first spoiled Iron Man. I think it's a stupid idea.
Having played that Iron Man today, I will say the one thing is, though, that against close combat teams, it's retarded. Against other range teams, the sucky thing is, though, you open up that avenue to be shot right back, and usually with ranged combat.
You're still getting the Alpha Strike, though.
You're still getting the Alpha Strike.
I think it does suck for range team because there's only one spot on each side that's really kind of a quote-unquote kill zone, but that's the smallest kill zone. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What doesn't have a 6-square movement that can get around the corner to get around being shot from far away? Next one. Port of Miami, and I couldn't get a big picture about this. This is one that I don't know that I've ever seen anybody play. But this is one that I always keep with me because it's has particular things about it that can be...
Is it the one with the shipping crates?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's it. I've played it once.
The elevation changes all the time. There's, each of these little squares is a level of elevation. What's awesome about that is flying teams, particularly hypersonic teams. Hypersonic flyers, like Superman pieces, will wreck on this map. And that's because there is 1,000,001 places for them to hide once they hit you and run. There's tons of little 2x2 squares of elevated. So you can rush over, punch or shoot, rush back to the back corner of the elevated, and now you can't be shot unless they get all the way around and shoot you from the back side. Or their smoky foot cap or something.
Yeah, I'd love to play Hawkman on this map.
Oh, yeah.
So hypersonic speeds, flyers, and melee-based teams. Even Iron Man would have, and Cyclops would have trouble hitting you on this map because they can't ignore elevated. So you can hide behind the elevated patches to move in, and then when it's time, you can get your charge in without the risk of being shot the whole time. So, good for hypersonic, good for flyers, good for melee, bad for range-based teams, and bad for boot symbol teams to have to deal with going up and down elevations 24/7. And then the very last one that everybody knows, is Shadowland.
Oh god, I've played this map so much.
And that's for its special rules of, what's the maximum range on it? 6?
5, I think.
5?
It's either 5 or 6.
On Shadowland, if you're a melee team, you have a pretty safe avenue of getting up there on the sides. The entire, I guess we'll say, rim of the map all the way around is elevated. And you can either take your melee guys up there to stay out of the wide open space at the bottom, or even if you are in the wide open space, your range on your opponents, and your pieces, are limited. So you can't at least not get shot from 10 squares away or 12 squares away like some shield teams can do.
I know that.
You know that feeling?
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I've played on that map quite a few times. I've actually had it picked as the silver bullet to my range teams quite a few times. It really does put a damper on things for a lot of teams. I have a question, though, about the 5 range. or the 6 range or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Does that apply to character cannot target a character? Yeah, that applies to TK.
It's targeting, or square, so you can't TK out more than 6 squares either.
That's huge. I've been screwed over by this map a few times. It really does put a damper on some strategies. This is a map I would suggest for a lot of people's arsenals.
This is good against stealth teams, I thought, because there's not a whole lot of hindering for them to hide from. It's good against high range teams. If your opponent does have a big shield team, like the one you played against last round, like this would have been a perfect match. Oh, you have a 12 range that shoots through all this stuff? Good. I'm going to pick Shadowland, and you're only going to be able to shoot 6, just like I do.
And then that's all wasted points on your figures for that extra range.
So, like I said, if you look at this map, there's only a total 10 squares of hindering.
Hey, Hunter, go to the wording on Shadowland real quick. A character cannot target a character, object, or square more than 6 squares away. Does that mean that, what's his name, Phantom X wouldn't work?
He draws a line of fire as if he possesses her square, though. I think
as if he's in her square.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as she's 6 or less, he would be fine.
Does the Matter Rearranger have a?
The Matter Rearranger
is based on your.
It's targeting squares.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it would be subject to it as well. Everything is subject.
If there's a character that draws line of fire through someone else, I think Danger would be subject to this.
As long as it say they draw a line of fire through, then they would be fine. They could still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just wondering. What was I going to say?
I believe, but we can look into it if you remind me later.
That's fine. That's something I would like to know.
But anyways, so that's a great map to have in your toolbox for. A lot of these I gave you are anti-specific things, and I feel like these 10 maps, you can keep them with you, and no matter what, if you're building a team where you kind of don't have a super preference on map, bring these 10 maps with you and play the negative side. And when your opponent throws out a team and you roll for map and you win, okay, what do they have? They have a super heavy range team. Let's go Realm of Death.
Honestly, that's a good chunk of why I play Realm of Death, is because Realm of Death in general shuts down a lot of strategies.
Are they playing barrier team? Let's go Pacific Ocean. Are they playing a shield giant freaking cannon? Let's enhance and buff like that War Machine Prime team I played the other day. Let's go. I'm going to take you to the Shadowland where you can only target me 6 squares away. So play anti maps. So again, I'll have links to all those on the podcast descriptions if you guys want to see them and kind of see what we're talking about. For the most part, they're all pretty easy maps to obtain. They're all either from OP kits or from events, and none of them will run you over $10. Most of them will only be about $5 probably. What's up?
I've got 2 honorable mentions though. They're older maps, but they're good ones. Muspelheim from the Hammer of Thor Fast Forces. It's a no hindering map. It's entirely a mixture of lava and normal terrain, and then it's got elevated in the center a little bit. The map is great anti-stealth team. The way the lava works is if you're standing at the end of anyone's turn, you take 1 unavoidable. So if you force blast someone in there, you could potentially get 2 unavoidable by the time they could move, really. And if they have tokens or whatever, you're stacking up to 3. The other map, of course, is Bizarro World, which we've talked about a little bit before because you've played it against me at Gen Con. And it's a monstrous map with that many changes in elevation. There's a lot of good spots. That would be another map that would kind of wreck on the destroying blocking things.
It'd be good for hypersonic flyers, too, because, again, you could rush in, hit, and then go hide back on a specific square of elevated. That's, impossible to draw line of fire, too.
Yeah, and the Hammer of Thor Fast Forces map, the Muspelheim, it's Jotunheim on the other side, which Jotunheim is kind of, I've called one to Gore the Jotunheim 2.0. Jotunheim, I think, has 4 levels of elevated, though. Mm-hmm. You can sometimes find a Hammer of Thor Fast Forces. I've seen them in a few places now. That I've been to.
We were giving them away for free a couple weeks.
They're I don't want to say they're common by any means, but you can probably pick one up pretty cheap. And that both those maps are really good maps to have on you, a super elevated and a no hindering map. I mean, that's just a great 2-in-1.
Moving on to community. We will have a special, quote unquote special video coming out pretty soon that we're actually going to record as soon as we're done with this podcast real quick.
Wait, we are?
And that's the olive video.
Oh, yay!
I have to pay the piper, and I have to eat olives in my losing bet to Austin, or to Austin's brother, Aaron. And
This is going to be beautiful. And by beautiful, I mean this is going to be terrible.
it's definitely going to be disgusting. The only question is, will I or will I not throw up? That's the only question.
I'm going to record it on my phone, too, for good measure.
Dial design. Number one. Now, every week, the 3 weeks, we already have the 3 weeks planned out for this month. This month, no figure is going to be a kind of standard symbol figure. Each week is going to be is going to be something a little bit different than your standard Heroclix figure. And the first assignment goes along with the week of Valentine's Day, which will be the week that you'll be designing it. We want a duo figure, and each character on the duo needs to be a romantic couple from comics. Marvel or DC only, please. And somebody with a kind of, I don't want to say like, basically a known relationship. Like, not, Superman kissed, like...
Not like what I did to poor Ricky, where Tony Stark in an alternate dimension was a woman and he slept with Cap, so therefore I'm going to make a duo of that.
Yeah. Not, Emma Frost kissed Cap on the cheek one time. I'm going to make a Cap.
Wait, that totally means they banged.
It needs to be an established relationship in comics. So that's the assignment for week 1. Those will be due by next Saturday, the 15th, February 15th. And, to best build, we already talked about. Congratulations to our winner, CB. What was this?
Seabiscuit.
CB Hawk.
Oh.
Which kind of made me think of Seahawks. But anyways. CB Hawk, so we'll be emailing you to see what you want. Yeah, I know. I hate the Seahawks, too.
Yeah, I don't know.
YouTube. I have another rules explanation video up there for Scarlet Witch. I'll also this week be getting the best build matches up on there so you guys can see your teams in action. And if anybody's bored and wants to see some Heroclix matches take place on YouTube, I'll
if you
want to
see Drew get demolished.
Did you record our last match?
Me and yours?
Yeah.
No, that's when Drew was playing.
Oh, okay.
It was back there on the camera. Yeah.
Yeah,
so every match that you played, we recorded this week.
No.
Wait, which
the
one?
second one was mine. I didn't have time to set up for the first one.
Oh, okay.
Second match was mine and Jake's. Third one was Harry and Drew.
In which Harry demolished.
Good,
No
because you didn't
spoilers.
record me complaining our entire match.
No, although I should have.
I complained.
And this was a test run. Hopefully it turns out good. This is the first time we've recorded matches, so
Well,
the
that's
sound...
subtitles for Drew's
Be
mumbling under
The
his
only
breath.
problem is going to be sound
I actually
quality.
didn't mumble. I totally acted like there were people there. But be sure, Hunter, to watch towards the end of the video where me and Harry just start shooting the shit.
Alright. Let's see. We got the bet. Like I said, we got the bet video coming up. Some other bets that we have right now.
Howard the Duck, bitches.
Austin and I have a $5 bet that there will be a Howard the Duck figure in the Deadpool set. Austin,
And it's looking better for me because Colleen Knight and Misty Wing, or Colleen Wing and Misty Knight were just confirmed.
that's true. I'm not worried yet. I still think
you should be, buddy.
Still think I'm going to win. I say no. Austin says yes. Another bet we have is the rumors. I have a $5 bet with Phil. I think that Black Lantern Anti-Monitor will be a con exclusive.
I definitely think it
He
will
says
be.
no, so we'll keep posted on
I
that.
would have bet against you, but I already have a bet on Howard, and I don't want to keep throwing money.
You guys can comment. Let us know what you think about these bets. Who you think is going to come out on top. And then a lot of you guys have been requesting a Phoenix Force video for the rules explanation series.
Oh dear God!
As soon as I get time to really sit down and play with, first of all, play with it because I haven't got to play it yet, and we get another shard or two, and I get time to really sit down and think of every little question I can think of with this thing, then I will do it. So it is coming, but it's not going to be coming anytime super soon. I really want to make sure I completely master it before I make the video on it and risk having something wrong. Other than that, we had a question on our Gmail account from a couple weeks back, but we've been busy, so we hadn't got to answer it. It's from Eric Stivitz. Hey guys, just wondering if you thought that the Silver Centurion's torpedo might be the quote-unquote silver bullet to Marvel 10th Iron Man. I don't know how he could use his special when you can't assign a relic or resource to a terrain marker. Just curious. Thanks, Eric.
But they ruled that he's the one making the attack, so...
Correct. I think couple things. You don't really need a silver bullet to Iron Man anyways, to the silver bullet, which is M10 Iron Man. You don't really need a silver bullet to him because we've talked about on the podcast, there are ways to take him down even if you are running a resource. First of all, the obvious one is don't run a resource because without his trait being effective, he goes down super quick.
And that's the reason I personally don't play him often is because the last few times I've played him, I've done great against resource teams. It's not a straight shoe-in by any means. And then the final match or something, I'll go up against someone who didn't play a resource, and they will destroy me. Because he is that specialized, that focused, and he is a short dial.
Very
I mean, you really need to... For his point value, it's hard to play him at 225 in a lot of games. I'm usually running about 150, and at 150, he's like maybe
125.
Or 125. He's like maybe 2 useful clicks before he just dips off.
He has 1 click of movement attack on 125. That's the problem.
And then it's
he
Force
goes
Blast
Force
after
Blast.
that.
Yep.
And that's just how he is. Like he is good against resources, but you really need to take full advantage of his point values.
And if you watch the M10 Iron Man rules explanation video I did, I talk about ways at the end to take him down and what are your best ways to do so. With some swarming, or with outwit, or with in-cap.
Some sort of horde of zombies.
With in-cap, you can take him down already. As far as whether the Silver Centurion torpedo would be a silver bullet, you're going to need to wait and see what happens officially with the final errata and everything to Silver Centurion, because at the moment it's kind of up in the air as to whether that would trigger Iron Man's trait or not.
Whether that was intended or not.
We had another question on our Facebook account. Let me pull that up. From Chris. He's wondering if we would give him a few tips on tactics and team building around Old Man Logan.
Oh, man.
Thanks for doing a great podcast. I'm a newer player. Your piece of recommendations are invaluable. So let's open up Old Man Logan and talk about him just for a minute.
I really could sum my entire advice up in one word, and that is Mjolnir.
Well, here's what you're going to want to do. And let's talk about Old Man Logan real quick and his relic trait. Twice per game, give him a free action to remove any relics assigned to him and place a relic of equal or lower point value from outside the game onto his card. So what you want to do is you want to pay for a relic that is, number one, a decent chunk of points, and number two, easy to pick up.
Yep.
The rings also, honestly, provided him a decent amount of options. Most of those are 50-50, and a lot of them are 8 points. Let's pull them up here.
I'm trying to find... There's an old object that's really easy to pick up but not that great. What am I thinking of?
Definitely not the Global Ultimate Knowledge.
Yeah.
I actually had it open right when you said that, too.
Globe of Ultimate Knowledge
is the worst relic.
Probably the worst relic that has ever been created.
You're a terrible person. Whoever.
Let's see what the fragments are 5/6s. The rings are 50-50 and they're 8 points. The crystal is 50-50, 8 points. The hammers are, of course, harder to pick up. I still think that the rings are probably your best modern age way to go. Actually, they're going to be your best modern age way to go. With the rings, if you're going for a point value, go with Cosmic Cube because it's 12 points and then a 4-6 to pick up. And it's still modern age at the moment. That way, no matter what you drop down onto at 12 points, that's pretty much the most expensive relic there is. So whichever one you want to switch in, the 12 points is going to have you covered on that. Any other...
I thought there was one we were talking about. I can't find it.
I don't think there's one that's going to be as easy as a pickup as
Palantir.
Well, but that's not...
okay, for Silver Age.
Yeah.
It's a 3-6 and it costs 15 points.
Okay, so if you're playing Silver Age, Palantir's the way to go.
3-6 to pick up a Mjolnir is a little ridiculous.
3-6 for 50... No, you don't even have to pick it. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you pick this up and you trade for Mjolnir.
I get you now. I was like, what? Oh, there. That's what I was looking for. Batarangs. So, in Modern Age, use Batarangs. You got a 50-50 chance to pick up a 10-point object. In Silver Age, use the Palantir. You have a 66% chance to pick up a, what was it, 15?
15-point object.
15 point. From there, bring anything you want with you that's the same or less points and harder to pick up. So you take the 66% chance of picking up the Palantir, and then you...
they had to have set that up on purpose.
Then you take
I'm sitting here looking at this thing going, there's no way this is a 15-point relic.
Then you take Mjolnir and you give it to Wolverine with Wolverine's free action. And that will give him +2 attack and damage.
And
Quake, energy explosion, and flight ability. Or Doc Ock arms. Or any of the hammers that you particularly need at the time. Especially Anger's hammer, because Wolverine, Old Man Logan, heals from his trade already.
Yeah.
So if you give him steel energy, it's keeping him alive quite a bit. He could benefit from Null's hammer for the willpower.
He could benefit from Batman.
He could benefit from several of the rings, like Blacklight, to stealth himself and to give negative attack for people kind of like... I would just say what's going to be most important is getting those 2 starting relics. Get the Palantir and the Batarangs, which Batarangs will be easy to get your hands on.
Yep.
And then from there, look at the different relics and then decide, where you want to go from there. Mjolnir's a good option, though.
You know what honestly would be a pretty good relic on him? I like the Iron Man briefcase if you can drop into it.
Yeah, but it's a 5/6, right?
Yeah. I'm saying if you could drop into it from something else because it's 12 points. But giving Invul his whole dial would be nice.
Well, he already has good damage, so he has Invincible and then Impervious.
Oh, I didn't notice he had Imperv. Okay, never mind, scratch that.
And then lastly, let's talk about comics. We're going to talk about Inhumanity. And Inhumanity it just had issue 2, and this is the follow-up to Infinity.
It's a mini event.
I was going to say, it's not a full-fledged event like Infinity, but it's kind of a main storyline that's going on in Marvel right now. There are a few side books, none of them worth reading, so don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Inhumanity is worth reading, though, in my opinion, and we'll get into it.
And it leads into the upcoming Inhuman.
Written by Matt Fraction. We've talked about it multiple times.
Great writer.
Writes Hawkeye and Sex Criminals right now, 2 of our favorite books this past year, or at least my favorite books.
I love Hawkeye.
Invincible Iron Man also is the best Iron Man there's ever been. We talked about it before. And he was responsible for that. And then art-wise, issue 1 is from Olivier Coipel, who did House of M, Siege, and AVX.
Oh my... Really? AVX?
And some of the AVX, not all of it.
Okay, I was going
It
to
had
say...
a lot of different artists.
I know. AVX's art was terrible to me. Like, overall, I would say I really didn't...
It's like Rob Liefeld drew it all.
And then issue 2 was...
Not...
Yeah, he is. Anyway.
Issue 2's art was done by Nick Bradshaw, who's a cover artist and who does the art for Wolverine and the X-Men.
I really love the artwork on issue 1 a lot. Artwork on issue 2 was still good, but issue 1's was pretty breathtaking at times. There were some scenes in there that they did really well. Lots of good detail and stuff.
I really like the book so far because I think this will introduce a lot of people, a lot of my friends particularly, even you guys, to Inhumans and realize why I love Inhumans so much in Marvel Cosmic, but especially Inhumans. And this is a good kind of, what's the word I'm like starter kit to learning about Inhumans.
Karnak is awesome!
Yeah.
I've never read anything with him in it, and just like this first issue has him in it,
he's pretty great.
In both of them, actually. And he is just so awesome, like... Overall, like, as Hunter said, like, I don't know shit about Inhumans. I know a little bit about Black Bolt, because I read a lot of Illuminati stuff and crap like that. But I don't know squat about Inhumans. And so, like, this is a good jumping off point for me following Infinity, where they played a good role in it. I think the writing's really well done. The characters are very defined. That's another thing we don't really think about a lot when we read books, is sometimes... authors have trouble distinguishing character personalities well. Mm-hmm. I think it's very, very well done with how each character reacts to situations, their thought processes, all that stuff are done really well. And, of course, as I said earlier, the art's been great. I mean, like, I've been introduced to Inhumans only on seeing them once in the art at some point, and I'm like, man, I really want that guy as a Clix figure already.
Another thing about it is the first issue, like I said, is an intro because it takes you back. It even goes back through it basically tells the origin story of the Inhumans.
Yep.
Yeah.
In detail. And it even talks about like people like Randak, who like I've only seen in like 1 or 2 Inhuman things in the last 10 years of reading Marvel Cosmic books. Like it goes through the entirety of the Inhumans, talks about where they're from, why this right now is going on, reveals the fact that the Inhumans, are interbred, which has been a whole secret this whole time, and not just to the characters in the book, but to us. This is the first time this has ever been mentioned. And so it's a really cool time. I feel like it's good because people who've been reading Inhumans, the little bit of stuff there is on Inhumans, enjoy it because it presents new stuff to the table. And then new people who have no idea about Inhumans it's a great stepping stone to, introducing them to them. And I really like it. It's very well done. Fraction's amazing, of course. We all know how good Fraction is. It's really well told. Karnak could not be written any better in this freaking first issue.
Medusa's great.
Medusa is really great in this, too.
But yeah, Medusa is kind of the focal point in issue 2 and probably will be the focal point in most of the rest of the series because everything's on her shoulders now with Black Bolt gone, which, of course, first of all, there's no way Black Bolt's dead.
There is no way.
First of all, any comic book character, if they say they quote-unquote died, but you never showed them dying, they're alive.
Yep.
They're alive.
Especially Black Bolt.
Yeah.
Black Bolt's alive, okay?
He's going to come
He
back
was in the fault.
Considering he quote-unquote died once.
I was going to say, he was in the fault for years, and we all knew he was alive the whole time, and sure enough, he ended up being alive.
I think Maximus is up to no good again.
Well, that's also goes without saying. Maximus is always up to no good. I'm sure he's going to be a huge part of this.
He's awesome.
This event, but
I think Marvel's really pushing Inhumans to the forefront, partially to support their cinematic universe, too.
Absolutely.
They can't... For those of you who don't know the fiasco, basically, Fox owns the rights to mutants as a word. Marvel cannot say the word mutant.
In a movie.
In a movie at all. So, Marvel can't really do any... They don't have the rights to X-Men in movies. They don't have anything like that. And they need a good substitute. And what this effectively did was a second jumpstart of quote-unquote mutants around the world that are Inhumans.
I call them space mutants.
Space mutants works too. I think they did... Basically, that's what they're pulling
They
off.
are. They're space
I know,
mutants.
they are, but...
So, what we're getting and what they started in humanity is... around the world, all the Terrigen mists have been released, and like all these people are awakening powers they didn't know they had because back through their ancestral lines there were Inhumans and stuff like that. And it's how they react to them, the powers they're given. And Medusa's trying to come to heads with the fact she has to lead these people into a new era, and rebuild the whole empire, the Inhuman Empire. So really, it is Marvel pushing Inhumans to the forefront because now they're everywhere, and everyone's going to have to deal with them in some capacity or another. And it's kind of like another age of mutants. I told you that should have been our song this week.
It's going to be our outro.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into it. Yeah. I think every Marvel fan... A lot of Marvel fans probably are already reading this book anyway, so we don't really have to tell you to read it. But it's worth reading, even if you...
If you don't know squat about Inhumans, it's a great jumping off point.
And it's a well done book anyways.
Yeah.
Even just as a general comic, it's pretty well done, and I suggest people do it. One other quick comics thing I wanted to mention, because Austin and Drew and Phil and I have kind of, and Drew some too, have kind of talked about the Mighty Avengers and the hidden characters.
Oh, did you finally figure out who it was?
No, I already told you. I know who it's going to be.
I know. I've actually known who it was, though.
Okay. From day one, I said, it's got to be Blade. First of all, the whole team's black. Who's the only other Marvel character? I mean, of course, there's some more, but I was like, it's got to be Blade because of it's a black character. The way he talks, his dialogue sounds just like old Blade comics. And the fact that he says something about a trench coat in, like, I think it was his second or third issue.
Yeah, when he
says something about a trench coat. As soon as he said that, I was like, it's Blade. And the boys are like, it's not Blade. We know who it is. Do you want us to tell you? I'm like, no, don't tell me. I'm like, but I swear, it's going to be Blade.
Me and Phil have been sitting here laughing because what happened was Marvel accidentally leaked that it was Blade.
I didn't even know it was for sure Blade.
Yeah, we okay, here's what happened.
So I was right.
Yeah, you were right.
Fucking knew.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it for you.
You just... I'm going to kill... Drew, stab him in the heart.
What? Me and Phil have known for a while because Marvel sent out a thing for, like, an artist send out to try to get people interested in doing the art for their upcoming comics. And one of the panel sets is... It kind of gives the descriptions and a little bit of an outline. And it's the scene where he's getting dressed into the Spider-Man uniform. And it says, in, like, parentheses at the bottom, like, Blade gets ready or whatever to be the whatever hero he named himself in Mighty
And that was
Avengers.
fucking descriptive as shit.
I know. So they send this paper out that blatantly says it's Blade in this scene, in this panel. And so everyone's like, well, now we know who it is. And me and Phil have known this for a while. We've been laughing because you were so dead set it was Blade.
It had to be Blade.
Yeah, I know. It was just fun to see you running around with that idea.
I was like,
you were so proud of yourself.
I was like, it could be Kane. For a second, I thought it was not Kane, but the old Ben Reilly, because it says Spider here. I was like, who's the only other Spider person who's not in anything right now?
Yeah,
it's like it's got to be like Ben Reilly back from the Beyond or something like that.
For the 50th time.
I was like, yeah, it's either that or Blade, and then it's just like then the trench coat thing. I was like, it's gotta be Blade.
And I'm happy Blade's coming back for some stuff.
They still haven't shown him in the issues yet, but 2 new issues came out, which were really good, by the way. That's a good book. People should pick it up.
That's good because it kind of started out a little slow for me.
I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
It'll be nice, especially when the actual reveal happens and he becomes a main character as he usually is. I will definitely enjoy it then. Sorry about the spoiler, guys. Was not meaning to do that.
That's okay. I think it's going to happen in the comic very soon, and I'm kind of wondering why they've waited this long to say it.
To drive up sales because we're Marvel. Woo!
Well, you belong to Marvel now. You're spoiled. So Marvel's going to put a NDA on this podcast because you just spoiled that Blade is.
Oh God, not again! I'm sorry, Marvel. I know that I spoiled the fact that Captain America's really a woman once.
And kissed Tony Stark. That's going to do it for us today. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. We chat with you guys all the time on there, and we like hearing from you guys. And also, subscribe and rate us on iTunes. It's been a while since I asked for that. We have gotten a lot of new listeners since that. Subscribe to us on iTunes and give us a rating. We're not even asking for 5-star ratings. Give whatever you feel is accurate.
Which is 5 stars.
Which is 5 stars. God dang it. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Hunter, the Marvel lawyers are here. Hurry! Blockade the door!
If there's a place you gotta go, I'm the one you need to know. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. If there's a place you gotta get, I can get you there, I bet. I'm the map.
This song is scarily accurate for maps and Heroclix.